All right, how we doing? Sam back with you here. It's Monday, January 14th, and we are going to take a look here at Tron, at TRX to Bitcoin. So I've got it up here. This is Tron to Bitcoin on Binance. I've got the 8-hour up. Right? So this is by request of the members, and we can see why here. Some sparks of life and in a cryptocurrency. So this is an encouraging sign and a relatively clean count. Now we're not this is not the absolute high, right? So here's our absolute high. Here's the retracement. Now it's so much of crypto, we have it's not the cleanest finish down here, but we do, despite having what would appear to be a very deep second wave, I can finish here. So we would have to allow for a truncated 5 here. If this little 3-wave ABC is some sort of a 4 and we go down, we can come down in 5. So let me go back to a 4-hour here and we'll zoom in on this so I can open it up a little bit better. Bear with me here. Okay, so if that's an ABC, then I can, after this, right, very clear, then I can finish in 5. It looks like it's not quite a diagonal here, but you might have to do it this way, actually, now that I look at it, so we don't have an impulse. So I've got 1, 2, well, that's going to be tight now, actually. Shit, now I got to look at that. Hang on, guys. Do I have that right? So if that's the 1 and that's the 2, yeah, we're good. Okay, so we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then are we good in there? Looks like, get that right there. Oh, let's check that. That's not going to work. So 1, 2, we'd have to do it this way. So you'd have to do 3, 4, 5. All right, so there we go. Sorry. All right. So with that established here, so we've got this move coming down. It would appear to finish us here, but we don't make the low here. So we get this as a problem across almost all of crypto here. As we came down to this last leg, we don't get this here, at least we can get 5 out of that. At least I can get an impulse coming down. And then it would appear that I get a diagonal. So I get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into a proposed 1 wave here. Now let me take that up a degree and see if this all fits. Now here we go very deep for a 2. Now you'd likely have to go A, B, and then finish this with it. So here would be your C to come down and finish it. So you'd have to go 1. Boy, these are. Got to check these here. These are a little bit iffy here. I was maybe too quick to just throw some labels on that. So that looks like, yeah. So you could go, boy, it's not gorgeous, but you'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C into the 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you'd come down here, you'd finish that 2. So you'd have A, B, C deep for a 2. I know, but it's we hold this pivot, right? Either one of these, but if this is our 5, we got to hold that so we can get the A, B, C down here. And then if I pull back out here, all right, so now you're looking at that going, does that fit? Well, of course, the first thing you do is just start to measure, just as I've started to measure here. So if that's the start of our 1, and we've got this correctly identified, and that is our 2. Well, highest probability zone for our 3rd is right here. Looks like we get that, so it looks like that's 3, 4, 5 to finish the 3rd. So I like the 3 here. It fits with the symmetry off of this low. So if it's 1, 2, this works as a 3, shallow 4, right? But then the kicker's in the 5. So that looks like the symmetry can work here. It looks like I can get the necessary subdivision here. It looks like a little triangle I get for my 4, kicks in the 5. So that looks to be a completed impulsive structure. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it sure does look like we're just putting in an A and now going up for the B before we come down for the C. That looks like a pretty reasonable count. So off of the low here, now I'm going to use that low because we're trying to qualify this and work with this with our Elliott hat on. So I'm going to use the truncated 5 low, the start of the 1. So we'd be looking for something here down between the 50 and the 618. So if we're indeed going to get this here, now we don't have a lot of clear subdivision here, but it looks like something like that could be in play. So this would not be an unreasonable location, looking for that 2 to come right down to the golden zone. Now we don't. Let's see. Let's go to a 60. So it looks like you can get, actually, let's take that off. So you almost could make a case here that we're already done with at least the first part of this. So we could end up with a WXY here. So this is a little abrupt. So it seems too quick to have finished. So the time of this as a 2 relative to the length of the 1, you know, anything's possible here. But my guesstimate is that we'll come back here and we'll put a WXY on this, right? So that's a pretty good ABC. So we can go W, we'd be looking for an X and come down for a C. So again, just trying to connect to ABC. So that may set up for now. You know, I'm getting a little bit of a head start on this, and we don't know for sure. So we'd be watching for this if this is A, or if it ends up being that this is, we just go with a WXY. If we get that, now we're going to want to pay attention to what happens as we come back up here into the prime zone here. Now, if we're going to go up for an X here, we might look for it a little bit higher. So this coming up here to get into this zone here where we'd look for an X, and then the probability would be we'd come back down. Now here we get an algo target here, right? Because we don't know that we go that high. So if we're going to come back up here and run into this resistance, we roll over, then here's a reasonable spot here. Now note that would be right here with this little volume node here where we see we had market acceptance here, and you see that's all, so that's all tied to this, right? Just bring it over, you can see why we get that volume there. So we had this trading here, we have market acceptance, so that's interesting that potentially the roadmap here, I think it's a little premature to call this an ABC done and the 2 is in and then we're off for the 3. Again, not that it's not possible, it's just less likely given the length of time that this entire move took here. So from this low here of, Jesus, what is that? Is that that's September of 18 through the pivot up here to January of 19 to do this just over the weekend? He said, right, it's possible. We've seen, it's not wouldn't be the craziest thing we'd ever seen, but seems less likely. You'd want a little more subdivision, a little more time, and maybe a little more maturity into this correction rather than just a straight rip, even though we do have a 3 in it. I'd be looking for a little bit more of this, right, to play out and give us better symmetry as it would look related to the length of the 1, right? So for the 2 to come down here, this seems like a reasonable zone to be looking for the buy. Right now, you can get left hanging here if this is all we get. Right? Well, you know, you're not going to go straight if that were to be the 2. Right? So let's just take this off. If this is the 2. Well, so 1, you're already in lower probabilities. We don't make the 50, right? And you had nice structure just sitting here waiting for it, right? So that's a little bit soon seems to me to call that 2 is in. But if we can get this kind of action, if we can come back up here and we get into that, boy, that sure looks like a promising place to be looking for the entry. So if it's me, I wait. I wouldn't chase this. I'd wait and see what happens up here. Right? Do we come back down? And if so, well, you'd have some geometry here. So if you could probably use either one. We could use start of this. If we come down here, you've got a golden corner pocket setting up. So you'd have that. Now we don't. Again, I'm getting way ahead, right? Just trying to lay out. Well, how might we approach this? If this is going to be an impulsive move, if we're going to come off of this low and we've just put in the 1, well, of course, we're all looking to get into the 3rd. So if we try and put that together, so if that were to play that way, if this is 1, 2, well, we know the 3rd could go way up here. 5, right? These are just placeholders. So you might end up shit, let's see if I can get to it. Yeah, so you might end up redrawing this so that you get an angle here that would accommodate this kind of a move, or if we're going to go up here. So maybe you're making that upper parallel there. So that seems to fit just a bit better here. So it remains to be seen if we're going to use this low. It's so close to this that I might start here because that angle is going to be more accommodating. So if we come down here, you can see this is already just teed right up for that. So potentially that just becomes the 1, 2 before we go up and get the 3. And we don't know when we get there, but we do get this the benefit of a leading indicator here. So for the time being, I'd keep the 3rd up there, anticipating that we're going to try and do it that way. Right? Until something shows me otherwise, no reason not to assume that. So little kick down here in 3. Okay, Good start on it. I don't think that's done. Again, now that's no insightful fundamental knowledge or anything that I've learned, from scouring crypto Twitter. I'm just looking at the symmetry of it. Just doesn't look like we're done, right? Just the length of time of this relative to this, just too short. So I would wait for better entry, knowing that I may miss the next leg up if this is going to kick from here and go. But at some point there will be a retracement that will be tradable. I don't think it's there yet. So there's a little bit of hurry up and wait here for a little bit more to come and be revealed here in this correction. How deep are we going to go? So certainly one to be watching. If you caught some of this, good for you. If you didn't, right, no reason to feel like, oh man, I missed them. I missed the first good run of 2019. Well, yeah, you did. But if this is going to go, remember where we came from. There's a lot more still to come. If we have a trend change, and this is just the start of it. Don't feel like you've missed anything. Plenty of opportunity to add on the way. All right, guys, that's pretty much what I see here, but a nice start on it. All right, back to you. I got one more to do. Back to you later.